Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the program. Now, this segment is going out live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Salam Media, as well as on our YouTube channel and on the broadcast waves of Al Ansar and One Nation FM, as well as online on Salam Media. Many of you know Ashraf Garda. He's fondly remembered for his long serving stance at the broadcaster SAFM, our national radio broadcaster, as well as his short little sojourn here at Salam Media. Just a couple of months ago, in fact, last year during the month of Ramadan. We welcome him to the program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Uncle Ashraf.
Walaikum salam, and good talking to you. It's been a while, Azhar.
All right, so it's good to see you hale and hearty and healthy, it looks. You've been through a journey of COVID-19 recovery. Let's start off at the beginning, Ashraf. Where did it all start in this 2 weeks of COVID-19 for you?
Well, the way it all started in terms of how did I get infected, I don't know, and I think that's the question that most people ask, and we don't really know. Okay, excepting for me, symptom one was a bit of a cough on a slight croaky throat on a Monday. Symptom two was slightly more croaky throat on a Tuesday, but that's not unusual. I think I'm prone to that sort of thing, so that's pretty normal this time of the year for me anyway. But on a Tuesday night, I hosted a webinar for 2 hours and I was absolutely fine. Then watched my favorite football team, Manchester United, play. And at 11 o'clock at night, I got cold shivers just after the game, despite the fact that the team won. Anyway, and that's the first time I told my wife I feel feverish, and she felt me. She says absolutely nothing, and as I'm shivering, I've got cold shivers. And I went to bed, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, while I was still sleeping, my wife felt me, and she said, "Do you know you are boiling hot, right?" And I mean, instinctively, we knew that I needed to be tested. Subsequently, we also checked out. I checked out WhatsApp messages from my wife to my to my kids, saying that, "Hey guys, I don't know what to do. Dad's got a high fever. I don't know what to do." And there's like an emoji she's got of a teardrop, which in many ways suggests the type of anxiety that most people feel and face every day when they're encountering someone who could possibly be COVID positive. And in my case, I'm of course the first of my family who was then positive.
Now, Ashraf, you have decided to go quite public and make your status known. There are others who choose a different route to try to keep it more private and perhaps just inform one or two people around them. And then there are people as well who, who refuse to go for the test, who don't take the warning signs, importantly enough, and then go around as if they are completely normal. These levels of responsibility that we have in COVID-19 and been through the journey yourself, how would you advise our community to behave?
Well, first of all, when I pronounced that I was positive, it was the most natural thing to do. I promise you, I didn't even think about it. It was like I needed to do this because this is a global pandemic that's impacted on the entire world. And I'm just the latest in this long line of people, sadly, who have got it. I mean, when I got it, I think South Africa was about 150,000 positive people. We know it's over 300,000 now. So that's not going to change anytime soon, right? So I felt it was important that I express myself, considering in the build up to me being positive, I'd expressed caution and concern and keeping a distance for everybody else. So why would I change that? But it was only after I posted it and I did an interview on SABC News, did I realize that so many people, in fact, were not willing to share their being COVID positive publicly. And my sense now is that when you share it, it's a healing for the positive, and it's also a healing for those who are negative, because those who are negative are learning so much about the experience of someone who's positive, and they learn more from people like myself and others who are positive than the scientists, than the minister of health, than the president. They want to hear it from the day-to-day person that they can identify with. And I think that in essence is what has come through. And one of the reasons for that, as a result of that, I've been tweeting and encouraging many others to do so under hashtag South Africans with COVID, to share our experiences so that we can heal together.
Ashraf, you have been, in your home self-isolating. That means your family is around you. How have they been managing with your illness? Have they perhaps also contracted it, and are they making a recovery?
So 2 days after me, my wife felt very similar symptoms to me. So it was a given that she was positive, and she then tested after that, and she is positive. So we're in an unusual situation where I've got children who are older children at varsity, and they've managed the house, just about everything else, from cooking the foods to doing whatever. Shakir, who you are well aware of, has played a big role together with Amara. And then, of course, my extended, family with my son Zaid and Adila and daughters-in-law and sons-in-law and brothers and sisters, right? But because Jamila and I were both positive, we were in, let's call it isolation or itikaf, because that's really what it is, in our very own room. And that's where we spent all this time together in that room. Luckily, it's a fairly largish room with lots of sunshine, and that allowed us relative comfort, keeping in mind for many other people there's tremendous discomfort, especially in cramped areas.
And then looking at what it had done for you personally on an emotional level or spiritual level, perhaps even. You mentioned the isolation, the seclusion, the time that you have alone there. Knowing that there are other people that are dying from this particular virus, it could turn at any moment for the worst. And Alhamdulillah, you've come through it quite strong. But at any moment, it's like on a knife edge. Some people are doing quite well. Others are suffering greatly, even despite them having a strong physical appearance or strong bodies prior to the virus. It's still taken a hard knock on them. How do you deal with that emotionally, knowing that you have a virus that you're fighting that is
I
so
think
unstable?
most of us are very, most of us are affected differently, right? Some people mild, people slightly more severe, some people critical, and some people have passed away. And we don't know what will happen to us until we are affected or affected ourselves.
All right, we seem to lost that connection. Let's see if we can get Ashraf back on that connection there. It seemed to have just fallen apart, the weak connection there. But let's see if we can rejoin the conversation. We are chatting to Ashraf Garda, well-known South African media personality, and he was at SAFM for many, many years. He's an MC, well-known throughout the community, suffered from COVID-19, now on the road to recovery. In fact, he's out of the isolation, I believe, spent 2 weeks at home. His family members have also, some of them tested positive, and his wife in particular. And it's been a journey for them, and we're trying to find out what exactly happened, how did they go through it, and let's see if we can reconnect. Ashraf, is Ashraf there? Has he joined us once again? All right, we're still trying to recover that network connection. And inshallah, we'll try and get him back online. You are listening to Salam Media, and an interesting article coming up on in Bangladesh, where a medical practitioner had been spreading fake news and fake COVID reports that coming through on Al Jazeera. So if you get an opportunity, please do have a look at that. In the next couple of minutes after this particular interview, we are going to be speaking to a Palestinian activist regarding Palestinian prisoners and their imprisonment during COVID-19, uh, perhaps even going through deliberate infection or infection through Israeli guards. Because remember, these prisoners are in jail. So, how do they contract a virus if not from the people they are interacting with? And these are only Israelis. Their prison guards, prison transporting, prison medical services, food, all of that coming to them through the Israelis. So, who brings COVID into Palestinian jails? And that's coming up after. We seem to have Ashraf back online. Ashraf, can you hear me?
Yeah, I certainly can hear you, Azhar. Thank you. Sorry, I think the connection just dropped us completely, but
Yeah, yeah. The
I'm
network
fine
seems
now.
a bit,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, you're telling us about your spiritual journey during this period of your illness.
Yeah, I think the point is you just don't know how it's going to affect you. Now, myself being asthmatic was a definite concern for me up front because asthmatic is a respiratory issue, and you know that the people who have really battled have been in that position. But thank Allah, I've been reasonably comfortable. That means over the last 2 weeks, besides the initial fevers and shivers and shakes that is very, very common, and still the croaky throat, which I have now, I've been fine. I've certainly not had breathing problems, okay? And why that's the case, nobody can say. Of course, Some people say it's because you're very positive, and I'd like to think I'm being positive about being positive, but we have to say that we have to be grateful to Allah that we appear to have been spared. That's both myself and Jamila, and there's no clever reason for it. We don't quite know why. We appear to be very fortunate. We still have to be very very vigilant. On the spiritual part, you spend lots of time alone and then with your wife, because I'm in this unusual situation of being in isolation, but not in absolute isolation because two of us are together. But I mean, the that oft repeated surah, فَإِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّمَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. I find that, after with every difficulty comes relief. I found that surah Alam Nashra, I've read it more often than not during my Farad Salah in the last 2 weeks, and I've read it ever, okay? Meaning you're constantly aware of the fact that you need to look for relief, and that has certainly given me that. I tweeted this morning, so that's on the one part. I've tweeted this morning to because Mufti Menk tweeted something, and I replied to him to say his tweets has been a sort of source of great inspiration. His
Mhm.
motivational moments book, but also his updated tweets, because he's been able to connect the reality of this world with the potential reality of another world. Okay, and I think when you hang on to that and you understand that ultimately we are vulnerable, because as even now, as I come across with great degrees of positivity, I don't think we can say, you know what, I'm cool, I'm fine, I kick this thing. We are vulnerable even now. I mean, the doctors have advised us that you're out of isolation, but be careful because people have been affected in different ways. So we feel vulnerable. We feel positive. We feel strong, but we still feel vulnerable. And I think that's completely understandable. That this gamut of emotions that we're all running through right now.
Ashraf Garda, media personality in South Africa and close friend to Salam Media. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to take you from strength to strength, from the aspect of your personal life, your business ventures, your wonderful contribution to South Africa, and in this fight against COVID-19. Continue spreading that positivity. And Jazakallah khairan for your time this morning.
You were just two thoughts. And something I feel strongly about. Not every one of us will be COVID infected, but every one of us will be COVID affected. And I think we need to understand that. And once we get that right, I think we'll be willing to share our experiences. And I've certainly done that. So hashtag South Africans with COVID. And I'm suggesting people share their experiences. It is undoubtedly a healing when you express your vulnerability, because more people rally towards you than trying to kick this thing all on your own.
Jazakallah khairan. Go well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.